I like it. I like it. I
Uh,
like it. All
Thank
right.
you.
Good morning,
I like your background.
everyone. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Good morning, everyone. This is the voice and the face of Dr. Olabintan, CEO and co-founder of Livingspring Family Medical Center here in the awesome city of Mansfield, Texas, where we help our patients live long and well because we believe the quality of life is just as important as the quantity of life. Um, and we're having conversations today in line with that topic. If you are watching live, please hashtag live. And if you're watching a replay, please hashtag replay. And I am honored to have with us the one and only Dr. Anita Lwanga to have this conversation with us this morning on Doc, how do I lose weight without starving? Thank you so much, Doc, for coming. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I am good. It's another Tuesday morning. Thankful, busy. Promises to be busy, but I'm thankful. Um, Now, Doc, I already mentioned your name, but for the sake of those who are watching, who are like, "Who's this guest?" I love her hair. I love her background picture. Doc, who are you, and what do you do?
Well, my name is Anita Lwanga. I'm a general internist. Internal medicine doctors take care primarily of adults. So I did the majority of my training in Chicago. I also did a fellowship in geriatric medicine. And thereafter, I worked in upstate New York for about 3.5 years before finally transitioning back to Western Canada, which is where I grew up. So in terms of my interest with weight loss, my story is very interesting. So, during medical residency, you're so stressed out, you can eat whatever and you'll be fine. So pre-medical school, I was like really into fitness. I actually did my undergrad in kinesiology. And then once I got into medical school, I'm like, I don't have time to work out. I ate okay, like I ate a pretty healthy diet, and I think that saved me, and probably walking back and forth to the campus saved me. It's once I got into residency that I developed really bad habits. And the funny thing is, I actually lost weight. I would eat, like, say, I'll have a latte for breakfast, eat a chocolate bar for lunch, and then, like, if I'm lucky, eat a good dinner and go to sleep. And I was okay. And same with the first couple of years of working. Like I maybe have like 2 smoothies and I'm like working madly, typing my notes, running around seeing patients. And then it's not until the pandemic hit, and I was about 3 years into being a physician, I started to put on the weight. And the funny thing is, I was like, I was trying to be more healthy. I was like, let me eat full meals, let me actually work out. And the weight just kept on going up, and I couldn't understand what was going on. So last fall, I guess towards the end of the year, I finally decided to get some help. I knew some of these things theoretically, but I couldn't apply them. So
Mm,
I
mm.
hired a new coach. His name is JT Tapias, and he brought a lot of the information we learn as physicians to a very practical level. And I was skeptical, but I think I've lost close to 27 pounds since November, and it was a lot easier than I thought. So I started talking online. I'm sure that's where Dr. Tolu saw some of my videos.
Yes.
Weight loss without starving. Because I was like, I was like, no, you have to starve to lose weight. Because I've tried all the other ways and it doesn't work. But in this last couple of months, my mindset has completely shifted, and I realized that I have a lot to learn. And I also want to share some of what I've learned with other people.
Awesome, awesome. I was going to say, I was like, oh my gosh, you've lost weight. I thought maybe it was the I mean, your picture or something, but I was like, wow, like, is there some shrinkage? Wow. All right. So why you already you answered the question why you do what you do. So it was more, your own personal journey that pushed you to say, you know what, I got to make this more practical so people know that you can actually eat your way into losing weight and eat a certain way. All right. So Doc, let's get right into it. Define starving. When we say how do I lose weight without starving, that what would that mean in that context?
That's a great question. And I think I don't literally mean starving, but I think in our hearts, all of us have gone on a diet. And you know that feeling of feeling like, "Ah, I want to eat more, but I can't because I have to lose weight," and like trying to have this willpower. So for some people, not most people, I mean like just feeling hungry all the time and feeling like you cannot actually be satisfied, eat enough food to feel satisfied and lose weight. But that is possible. Like I actually went through a journey in that I was not hungry, and sometimes I had to remind myself it's time to eat, but I was not hungry, and the weight kept on going down. So it is possible to eat enough food to feel satisfied and not to feel hungry all the time and not to think about food all the time while you're on your weight loss journey.
Okay. Now, you said it's possible to lose weight without starving. What are your like top 6 tips? I said 6 because I wanna draw out as much as I as I can for you for the viewer. So, what are your top 6 tips to doing so? Because people are like, I don't know what she's talking about. I feel hungry all the time. I guess I'm starving in that sense, and I'm not, not losing weight. What are your top 6 tips to doing so? Now I'm taking notes.
There are so many tips, but I'll try to keep it to 6. So I'm going to talk about the carbohydrates you select, the kind of protein you select, not drinking your calories, uh, dealing with emotional reasons for eating, moving, and getting some help.
Okay.
So first of all, if we talk about selecting carbohydrates. So carbohydrates are healthy and carbohydrates are everywhere. So there are carbohydrates that are not quote unquote as healthy for you, and there are carbohydrates that are more healthy. An example I'll give is rice. You have white rice, which most of us eat, it's everywhere, and then brown rice, which is an acquired taste if you're not used to it. But if you're going to select one out of these two, if you select the brown rice, it has more nutrients with it. It still has its husk, which means it has more fiber. And because it has more fiber, it's going to be more satisfying. So if you choose half a cup of white rice and half a cup of brown rice, the brown rice has more nutrients and it's going to be more satisfying. The white rice is actually going to make your insulin spike. So this is something we learned in medical school and something that JT broke down to me, but I realized, I didn't really understand. In medical school, we learn when you eat foods that have quote unquote a high glycemic index or foods that spike insulin, which is for the most part anything that's sweet or any kind of carbohydrate, your body will take that sugar in your bloodstream and store it. So you want to minimize foods that spike your insulin. So brown rice will still do that, but much less than white rice because it has fiber along with your body will break it down more slowly. And even that process of breaking the food down more slowly and releasing the sugar more slowly into your bloodstream, your insulin won't spike as much. So that's one example. Another example is, which was a bit challenging for me, but it got easier, selecting more vegetables. I have a sweet tooth. Selecting more vegetables with most of your meals rather than the carbohydrates. So let's say pre all of this plan, like a typical breakfast for me would be drive by Starbucks, get some kind of wrap. I don't know what kind of flour is in the wrap, and then like with cheese and meat and whatever else. I'm like, it's balanced, I'm good. But like a new breakfast that I'm having now, which is a lot larger in volume than what I'd eat before, is like a giant omelet. I probably have an omelet that's like about 12 inches wide and like 2 or 3 inches thick, and there's vegetables in there. So that's my source of carbohydrates for breakfast. So I've moved away from the grain-based vegetables. I do still eat them, but not as much. Or sorry, grain-based carbohydrates, and I'm focusing more on vegetable-based carbohydrates. So that's one practical way. And these things I'm saying, you're like, yeah, you think you can apply it, but sometimes you need somebody to like really break it down for you and like review what you're eating, and then you're like, oh, I didn't realize that this is what I'm doing.
Right. Now I have before you go ahead, I have someone who's watching who's like, brown rice, doc, really? I can't eat it. It's rough. What would you say, doc? No, because that's what I get. That's the feedback I get. Brown rice, doc? No. What would you say to that, doc? How did you eat brown rice? What did you do?
It's an acquired taste. Over time, you'll get used to it. I totally understand. They taste different. But you can experiment with the sauces that you put in there. But I agree, it doesn't taste the same, but in the long run, sometimes change and you'll be shocked. After a couple of months, you'll try white rice and you'll be like, oh, this is not satisfying. It doesn't have that nutty taste that it used to. So I agree.
Okay. All right, let's go into number 2.
Number 2 is choose lean protein. So what I mean by that is things such as fish, things such as steak that is lean or beef that is lean, chicken, bison, rabbit. Those are pretty good choices in terms of protein. Yes, rabbit.
Wow.
A lot of us would like bacon. Bacon, maybe you can back off the bacon or if you're getting lean turkey bacon occasionally. But choose things in like meat in its natural form that has a lot of the fat removed. And that is the reason that I say choose lean protein and try to have every meal like a decent size is because you're more likely to feel satisfied if you have enough protein. Protein does not spike insulin as much, and your body needs it for everything to keep the structure of your body, to keep your muscles, for your hair, your nails. So choose a good source of protein that is lean rather than say our bacons, or what is another source of protein that is not. Well, another example I'll give you for me, I have with my omelet, the majority of it is egg white, and then there's one egg yolk rather than having it all full egg. So I get a little bit of fat, but the majority of it is lean protein, the egg white.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. What's number 3?
Number 3 is do not drink your calories. And if you're someone like me, you have a sweet tooth, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna grab a latte, it won't hurt. And you put all the bells and the whistles in the latte. And even if you are trying to choose the low sugar version, sugar is snuck in there. It's gonna get warm soon, so this is another one that a lot of us like to drink. Any kind of soda. 2 that are very, very deceiving are juice. A lot of us will be like, okay, it's hot, I'm gonna stop by this juice bar and get myself like a pineapple juice or some kind of like pressed juice or smoothies. That was one of my favorites, smoothies. If you look at these things, there's actually a lot of calories and a lot of sugar in there, and you're removing a lot of the fiber. So again, we talked about anything that has a lot of sugar, it'll spike your insulin. So going back to my example, I probably have 3 lattes, like the venti lattes from Starbucks, maybe say with soy milk. Soy milk has a lot of sugar. I was thinking, I'm getting my protein, my sugar, that's fine. And I'd have it like say with a sugar-free syrup. I'm reducing my calories, but one of those things can pack like 400 calories. So imagine 3 of those per day. Like I'm not getting a lot of nutritional value from that, but I'm just drinking away my calories. So just audit you're drinking. You don't have to make drastic changes, but if you are able to make big changes over time, you will still keep yourself well hydrated, and you will shift your calories away from things that are not nutrient dense to things that are more nutrient dense. So for example, going back to my lattes, I still need my caffeine. I've already had at least like 1 cup of coffee this morning, but the way I do it has changed. So the majority of it is coffee. And then my coach suggested I switch to low calorie almond milk and monitor how much I'm using. So for example, low calorie almond milk, 1 cup has 30 calories. That's it. So I don't even put 1 cup in my coffee. I'll drink a couple of coffees during the day, but say a 1/4 cup or 1/2 cup, that's 15 calories. And he suggested I could switch to stevia or Truvia. I'm like, no, I'm like, I need real sugar. But I mean, some people could try that, but you could switch to that or just straight black, and your taste will change. My taste will change. I actually love my coffee without a lot of the sugar in there.
I love it. I love it. And the truth is, a lot of these things, just try it. People are like, don't mess with my coffee. Try it. Like I've had people to the like the even oat milk, and they can't taste the difference because the coffee taste is so strong. So it's doable, but try it. Give it a try. All right, Doc, number 4.
Number 4 is deal with emotional reasons for eating. And this is huge. We could spend like 2 hours talking about this. But going back to my story, for me, even back in med school and residency, I did not realize that I was using food, say, as an emotional crutch, even though technically people would say that my weight was low. Like probably, intern year, first year of residency, I was probably maybe 5 to 10 pounds slimmer than I am right now. But for energy, I was like, oh man, like in the middle of the day, I'm like, I'm exhausted. or like something happened that stressed me out, I'll be like, let me go get my chocolate bar now. And then I'd have like that sugar high and, keep going. And we do that so inadvertently. And, food is built into our culture. We eat to celebrate, which is not necessarily wrong. It can teach us things that are not necessarily useful, but we use food to deal with negative emotions. We use food to celebrate. We use food to deal with boredom. And I was doing all those things and I did not realize it. So going back to my story. So during residency, if something bad happened, I would have like another latte to have that caffeine high and another, more sugar, or a chocolate bar for more sugar, more energy to keep going, rather than actually eating food that was healthy for me and fueling my body. So we need to change our mindset around food. The purpose of food, if we really break it down to its pure purpose, is to fuel our bodies, not to entertain us, not to give us a high. We have to find other ways to deal with our emotions. So a more healthy way for me to have dealt with my emotions during residency would have been to go talk to a friend if I was having a bad day, rather than eating the chocolate bar. And then another example, say when I started working as an attending, I was working primarily at night during the pandemic, and it was fairly stressful. So to meet me at work, I'd have my Uber Eats. Like everyone was on to Uber Eats. So I'd be like, okay, man, I need to like hurry up. I'll be like, if I can get to work 5 minutes early, I will order myself Uber. So I'd have my Uber waiting for me, like my Starbucks, my Chipotle was my favorite. And who else did I like? Red Lobster. Yeah. So I'd have my Starbucks order waiting for me. As soon as I got to work, I go to the door, I pick up my Starbucks order. I have like 4 lattes lined up for the night with banana bread and whatever else I ate. So that was my reward for getting to work on time. Instead of just intrinsically being happy, I got to work on time. I was rewarding myself with food. In the middle of the night, it was slow or boring, or if I managed to do something within a certain period of time, say I had like a bunch of patients waiting for me, I'll be like, oh yeah, Red Lobster is closing by like 9 o'clock. So if I can see all these patients by this time, I can hurry up and put my order in. So I was using food to reward myself for meeting certain milestones. Instead of intrinsically being happy that I met that milestone, I'm gonna do, it's okay to just do this, but I do not need to celebrate with food. Ideally, I should have been bringing healthier food from home. And when you make those kind of decisions, you're not thinking about the nutritional implications of what you're doing. You're just picking whatever food that is going to satisfy you and make you happy. And again, say if I had a bad day at work, I'd be like, okay, man, I'm going to swing by this store on the way home and reward myself with XYZ because it was a bad day. So it took a lot of work to get to that point that I realized, I was using food to deal with my emotions. And my coach, kind of told me, and he's a Christian. I don't know what you and your audience's beliefs are, but he's like, think about it and just see what comes to you. And for me, it was like using food to celebrate, to get energy, to deal with all kinds of emotions, and having that mind shift that food is here to fuel me. Now I have these emotions left. It's not going to fix your problems. Absolutely not. Right. For some people, it's actually more difficult because now you have emotions and they're here and you're like, okay, what do I do with them? So you'll have to go through a process of managing those emotions in another way and celebrating in another way that is not destructive to you.
To you. And that's big. I mean, you touched on something, I remember maybe it was two years ago, Holy Spirit was dealing with me on the subject of gluttony, where I would just eat because I'm happy, I eat, I'm excited, I eat, I'm tired, I eat. And so, I realized that, even in conversation with clients, they're like, Doc, you can't stop me from eating. That's like my joy. That's like my reward for a hard day. And I'm like, okay, what are other things that you can do outside of food to help you self-soothe? That says you've done a good job. This is for me. And one of the things that helped is I rediscovered my love for reading. So I would just go read a book and absorb. So for those who are watching, don't be discouraged. We're not saying don't eat. We're saying we have to be more mindful with our eating, and in our goals to maintain a good quality of life that you enjoy, and you're strong enough to do the things that matter to you. It's important for us to be more mindful with eating and look for alternatives. Maybe have that conversation, talk to a therapist, listen to music, dance, phone a friend, or have that discussion that you need to get off your chest. So that way food is not the only option. Very powerful, Doc. All right, number five.
Number 5, get moving. So with my background in exercise physiology, I thought the best way for me to lose weight, and my body disproved this all the time, was to exercise more. So it's important to get moving because it's good for your health overall. It's good for your heart, your lungs, and it's good for your muscles. So through this process of weight loss, you need to move, but you don't necessarily need to go crazy and kill yourself or stress yourself. I shouldn't use such literal words. You don't necessarily need to stress yourself, lift like a ton of weights or do like a 3-hour workout. Contrary to that, I actually lost more weight by moving, but moving in a way that didn't put a lot of stress on my body. So my coach in particular told me to focus on cardio and just walk. I was like, well, what, that's it? He's like, yeah, just walk. And he has a very specific formula in terms of the heart rate range that he wants you to be in to maximize burning fat. But he recommended, let's focus on the nutrition and back off on, say, the weights and the high intensity interval training, and just walk. So another thing he taught me that he does, when he walks, he prays. And he's like, he gets a lot of downloads while he's doing that. So I was like, wow, that is such an interesting concept. So I started incorporating that, and I actually just like climbed stairs. Like the gym in, close by to me was closed recently, and I live in an apartment. So I was like, man, I don't want to drive 20 minutes away. It's not going to happen first thing in the morning. So I just started climbing the stairs. And as I'm doing that, that's like when I'm having like my prayer time, and it's been incredible, like life-changing. So just move very simply. Just walk. You don't have to stress yourself out. You don't have to buy expensive equipment. You do not have to drive 2-3 hours away. Make it a part of your life. If you have children, go for a walk with them and, in the afternoon, and model these healthy habits for your children. But movement, any kind of movement, is powerful.
I love it. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for our viewers. Like, this is gold liquid. And here's the thing. They're simple. And I guess that's one of the challenging parts, because they're simple, easy to do, easy not to do, but play the long game. The key to success is doing the simple things over and over and over again for as long as possible. That's it. So be encouraged. All right, Doc. Number 6.
Number 6 is get help. So what I mean by getting help, if you have tried to lose weight and it's not working, one of the first places you can start with is your doctor. You can go to them and say, I'm having difficulties losing weight, and there are some questions they will ask you. To be honest, as physicians, we don't all have a lot of training in weight loss, but at least they'll ask you a few questions. They'll do some basic blood work and rule out certain reasons for gaining weight, such as a slow thyroid or some other metabolic abnormality or some other condition such as polycystic ovarian syndrome. Once they've ruled all those things out, I'd recommend reaching out to somebody who does this professionally. As I said, in my case, I thought I knew this information. I studied kinesiology. I did a little bit of nutrition training, and I could not apply it to myself. So I had to reach out to my coach, who's JT Tapias, and he made this journey shockingly simple and shockingly fast. I did not believe, I believed him, but I did not think what he taught would work on my body. And when he broke it down, I was like, that's it. Like, just change what I eat, and eat and not feel hungry and just move a little bit. That's it. But week by week, the numbers were going down, and I was shocked. So it was really humbling, because I learned, just because you think you understand something, it doesn't necessarily mean you can apply it to your life. So I think rather than struggling and, staying on that hamster's wheel and doing the same thing over and over. In my case, I explained that I started working out as a physician or attending. I thought I changed my eating habits to something more healthy. And over like 3 years, the weight just kept on going up. So I knew the stuff I just could not apply to myself in a practical way. So just get help. It'll make your journey much faster and a lot less painful.
Yes. Having someone to champion you on your goals and to champion your course to live in a better and healthier life where you actually feel better is very important. Thank you so much, Doc. This has been very, very powerful. Now, next question, Doc. I have people who are watching this who are like, yeah, Doc, I know you said it sounds simple, but there's 6 of them. It's a lot. And I'm like, someone may be feeling a little overwhelmed, like, oh my goodness, this is a lot. What would you say to that person to help them to brace themselves for starting these? Like, what would you say to that person who's feeling a little overwhelmed, like, this is a lot, I feel like I have to give up everything I enjoy, I feel like it's a lot of work? What would you say to encourage and empower whoever who's watching this?
Wow, where do I begin? I think the number one thing is it is a lot. It's a lot of information, but I'd say invest in yourself. Get the help and invest in yourself. This journey is can be challenging, and life is so difficult. We already have so many challenges we're facing in various areas of our life. But I'd say just reach out first of all to your doctor, get some help there, and then reach out to a nutrition coach thereafter. It'll make your journey much simpler and a lot easier. You'll find that a lot of the things I'm saying are, you start to apply them over time. But I'd say just get help and take it one step at a time. I think those are the simplest things. It does not have to be overwhelming if you get help. It does not have to be that hard, which was very humbling. It's a lesson I learned, but that's the truth. And you guys can see my picture, my face now compared to the picture on the post. You can see like it's changed.
I was like, wow.
In October. So it's possible. It's absolutely
wow. You heard her. For those of you who are watching, you heard her. Invest in yourself. It can be inconvenient, but you're worth the inconvenience. Start where you are. Start with one thing you can commit to do it every day, and get someone to keep you accountable. It could be your doctor, it could be a health coach, it could be a nutrition coach. But just start. You are worth it. You are worth every inconvenience that this may take. Wow, this has been so good. I took a lot of notes. And I'm really thankful that you came and you shared so powerfully and you shared your story with us, Doc. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
And we're going to do this again. So I put you on blast. We're going to do this again in a few months. But I have guests who are watching who are like, I want to connect with this doctor. I want to know more about her. Doc, where can people find you?
You can find me. I'm all over social media. On LinkedIn, my name is Anita Lwanga. Please feel free to reach out there. On Twitter, same thing, Anita Lwanga. On Instagram, I think it's Dr. Lwanga. On YouTube, it's Dr. Lwanga as well, all lowercase. TikTok, I'm not sure about TikTok. We will see.
I put it on there. You're on there too.
Yes, I'm all over the place. So if you guys have questions, you have questions about my personal nutrition coach, and you want to learn how to get a hold of him. I'm not doing this professionally. I'm not a weight loss certified instructor. I just was so humbled by my journey and learned so much from this gentleman that I wanted to share his information. So if people want to learn about him, they can reach out to me to hear more about him. Or if they just want to learn more about what I do as a physician, they can, tag me or message me on any one of these platforms.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you, Doc.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, everyone. I have shared her information also in the comment section, and you can see it also on the screen as we're watching. Thank you for joining. Please forward this and share this with friends, with family, and those who you know could find this very useful. And on that note, if you or anyone you know is looking for a passionate, a thorough, and a caring physician in the Mansfield, Texas area who will help you live long and well and have conversations to help improve the quality and quantity of life, I am she. Have an awesome week, everyone. Bye. Thank you, Doc. Bye.